Hello everybody, and this will be one of the more serious videos I probably will ever make. This video will be about death, as you saw in the title. And this is not to vent like some kind of trauma or anything, because the last time I've had a death in my life was, I believe it was February of 2010. I might be a year off, when my grandpa died of bladder cancer, because he chewed tobacco a lot, and we think that's what caused it. But anyway, I'm going to try to keep away from, religious aspect of death, at least until the end. So keep that in mind. When my grandpa died, and just keep in mind that my grandpa was like a model person. Like, I remember one story at his funeral that my uncle told. When he was a kid, he was just like messing around on this little motorbike thing that had an engine. It was kind of exposed on the back, and he like fell over on it, and my grandpa apparently like pretty much dived in front of him and took a huge burn on his leg to keep it from touching my uncle. So that's just the kind of person he was. Extremely selfless. He's probably one of the few people in the world that I can say is a role model for me. So, oddly enough, when he died, I wasn't that sad about it, despite that I knew that he was a great man during life and he didn't deserve what happened to him. The thing is, my grandma, as you might expect, was a wreck, to say the least. Seeing my grandma in the state she was in at the funeral was probably one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen. I can't really say I've been disturbed by many things before, but that was definitely one time. Because she's a very happy, fun to be around person. And at this funeral, she was just like, she was crying and trembling, and it was just weird for me to see that. And I understood why she was sad, because obviously her husband she had been with for decades, I don't even know exactly how long, probably at least 30, 40, 50 years, was dead. But until very recently, I never understood exactly why it would be that sad of an event to turn like such a happy person to just a mess, But recently, there's been this girl that honestly I like quite a bit, because we manly men don't like to use the word love. I'm just kidding. And I was watching Forensic Files on truTV. If you don't know the show, it's a show about just these forensic scientists solving these like murder cases and such, trying to figure out who did it. I was watching that a couple nights ago. My mind wandered a bit in relation to this female, wink wink. Not like what you're thinking right now, different ways, more innocent ways than that. Eventually I ended up thinking what it would be like to be married to this girl, right? And then an episode of Forensic Files came on about a wife that was murdered when the husband wasn't at home. He was at work. And my daydream went from what it would be like to be married to this girl to what it would be like to be married to this girl and if she were to suddenly be killed or die. At least once a thought like this, similar to this, like really similar, like almost the same scenario was coming to my mind, but never has it affected me like it did this time. Even though it was just a daydream, I suddenly felt this terrible, just desperate, sad feeling, as if nothing would ever have any meaning, because this girl would be gone forever with no chance of fixing it. Honestly, the feeling is very hard to put into words. It was then I realized two things. One, that I won't bother telling you if you can't put it together, and the other being that I think I finally understand what my grandma was feeling, at least a little bit. I also realized that this was only a dream reality, it wasn't real, so what she was feeling was probably even worse than how I felt for those few minutes that it lasted. These things being said, I also think I finally understand why some people cling to belief in heaven and things like that, Christianity, because that feeling of this girl never coming back was honestly the worst I've ever felt in my life emotionally. And in all honesty, if my grandma didn't truly believe that my grandpa was now in heaven and that she would see him again, I do think she could have gone insane and maybe ended her own life. It was that bad. because when I got that feeling, I honestly felt like suicide was the best thing to do. You know, it was really, really bad. um, to be honest, this was partially just a commentary to get that story off my chest, because in all honesty, my thoughts keep going back to that daydream, and hopefully just getting this out there will help it go away, because it's not good. Hopefully this video got you to think about some things, and possibly if you just lost a loved one and you feel, you know, really depressed, demotivated, that you want to just end your own life, just know that I personally now understand more than I ever have the kind of pain that it really brings. And there are many people, including my grandma, who felt the same, if not worse, and made it through the shock with their lives perfectly intact. So if you enjoyed or I got you thinking, maybe leave a like just to know this wasn't a waste of my time, and leave a comment with what you think, and see you guys later.